It was a quiet Tuesday morning in Savannah, Georgia. The early sunlight filtered through the classroom windows of Westbrook High School, casting golden patterns over the desks. The classroom was buzzing with low chatter, the usual energy of students who would rather be anywhere but here. Tyrone Walker, a bright but often overlooked 17-year-old, sat at his desk near the window. With his neatly braided hair and a notebook full of sketches and unfinished poems, he wasn't the loudest or most popular, but he saw everything. His best mate, Jalen Brooks, sat 2 seats over, humming an old-school R&B tune under his breath, tapping rhythmically on the edge of his desk. Their teacher, Miss Caroline Davis, entered precisely at 8 o'clock. As always, she wore her signature sunflower pin and a calm smile that made even the sleepiest student sit straighter. A former nurse-turned-English teacher, she was respected and liked, a rare combination in any school. "All right, class," she said warmly, placing her books on the desk. "Let's dive into Langston Hughes today. Open your books to page 76. The morning flowed smoothly at first. Miss Davis's voice echoed as she read aloud, her southern lilt giving the words a melodic rhythm. Students followed along, some genuinely listening, others just pretending. But Tyrone noticed something unusual. Miss Davis paused mid-sentence. Her hand trembled as she reached for her water bottle. Her voice cracked, and her eyes suddenly seemed unfocused. He straightened up in his seat, heart beginning to race. Jalen leaned toward him. "You see that?" Before Tyrone could answer, Miss Davis took a step backward and collapsed beside the whiteboard. For a split second, the classroom was frozen. Then chaos erupted. "Miss Davis," someone screamed. Books fell. Chairs scraped. Some students rushed forward. Others backed away in panic. Tyrone stood up slowly, his mind spinning but his body calm. Time felt different, slower, sharper. He stepped through the commotion and knelt beside her. Her lips were slightly parted, her breathing shallow. He remembered the emergency drills, the CPR lesson from a school workshop last year. He remembered how no one had paid attention except him. "Call the nurse." "Someone get help," he shouted, voice firmer than he expected. Jalen was already by the door, yelling for help. Tyrone checked Miss Davis's pulse with shaking fingers. It was there, but faint. As students cried and shouted around him, Tyrone stayed focused, pressing lightly on her wrist, watching her chest rise and fall. Something deep inside told him this moment mattered. It was only the beginning. The corridor outside room 3B filled with the sounds of running footsteps. Mr. Carlton, the history teacher, burst in with the school nurse right behind him. She knelt beside Miss Davis and quickly took over. Tyrone stepped back, his palms cold and damp. Jalen returned to his side, out of breath. "They're calling the ambulance." "She's breathing, yeah." Tyrone nodded slowly. "Barely." The rest of the class had gathered near the back of the room, whispering, crying, some filming on their phones. Tyrone clenched his fists. Something about that felt wrong. This was real, not a clip for social media. The nurse checked Miss Davis's vitals while issuing instructions. "Everyone clear out. Go to the cafeteria now. Teachers will supervise you there." As the students shuffled out, Tyrone lingered. "Go on, son," Mr. Carlton said, gently placing a hand on his shoulder. Tyrone hesitated. He wasn't trying to be a hero, but something about that moment, it felt unfinished. Jalen nudged him. "Let's go. We'll check on her later." As they walked the corridor, whispers followed them. "You think she's gonna be all right?" "I dunno." Looked serious. Why did Tyrone know what to do? At lunch, Tyrone sat with Jalen in silence. Across the table, students speculated about what had happened. Some said it was a stroke. Others said she collapsed from stress. One even claimed she had a heart attack. Tyrone's thoughts wandered. Miss Davis had looked tired lately. She'd missed 2 classes last week. No one asked questions then. Something was off. Something bigger than just a collapse. And Tyrone intended to find out what. The next morning, Miss Davis wasn't at school. Her desk remained untouched. The whiteboard still held Monday's notes. Principal Watson made an announcement over the intercom. Miss Davis was recovering in hospital and would be on leave for a while. That should have ended it. But Tyrone couldn't shake the feeling. He noticed something strange on her desk. A crumpled sticky note tucked beneath a folder. While no one was looking, he slid it into his sleeve and walked away. Back in the library, he unfolded it. It wasn't much. Just a scribble. If it gets worse, contact G. Myers, 347 King Street. Jalen raised an eyebrow. You're telling me she had a contact stashed under her lesson plan? Sounds shady. Sounds important, Tyrone replied. Mate, we're students, not detectives. But Tyrone was already packing his bag. After school, they cycled through the humid streets of Savannah, weaving past oaks and silent verandas. 347 King Street was a narrow brick house sandwiched between an antique shop and a bakery. Tyrone knocked. No answer. He tried again. A tall, lean man opened the door. Balding, with sharp eyes and a tight grip on the frame. Yes. Are you G. Myers? Tyrone asked. The man squinted. Who wants to know? We're students of Miss Davis. She collapsed yesterday. At the mention of her name, Mr. Myers's eyes shifted. A pause. Then he stepped aside. Come in. Inside, the air smelled of books and tea. The walls were lined with dusty volumes and faded photographs. I used to work with Caroline, he said, at the hospital, before she left. Do you know what's wrong with her? Tyrone asked. Mr. Myers hesitated. That depends how much she told you. Tyrone met his gaze. Nothing. But I think she wanted someone to know. Myers sighed. Caroline was investigating something at the hospital. A few months ago. Something dangerous. Jalen's face dropped. Wait. What? It started with one patient. Then a pattern. Misdiagnosis. Wrong prescriptions. Someone covering things up. Caroline tried to report it. Next thing you know, she resigns and starts teaching. She was scared, Tyrone whispered. She still is, Myers said. And now, so are you. The next day, Tyrone noticed a black car parked outside the school. It wasn't a teacher's. It wasn't anyone's. And it didn't leave after the first bell. Jalen nudged him during gym. They're watching. You reckon it's hospital people? Or worse. Tyrone's phone buzzed. A blocked number. He declined the call. Moments later, a text appeared. Stop digging. This doesn't concern you. He showed it to Jalen. They're serious, Jalen said. We need to drop this. But Tyrone's mind was already somewhere else. He had questions that needed answers. Why would someone threaten a high school student? Unless what Miss Davis found was bigger than anyone expected. By Friday, Tyrone made up his mind. He would sneak into the hospital. Jalen thought it was madness. You're not Tom Cruise. But Tyrone knew someone, a part-time janitor, who owed him a favor. That evening, wearing a hoodie and nervous sweat, he slipped through the staff entrance. The hospital buzzed with fluorescent lights and quiet urgency. He moved fast, checking labels, floor directories, and eventually found it, records room 4C. Locked. He slid the janitor's badge and held his breath. Click. Inside, rows of folders towered around him. He searched for Miss Davis's patient files. It took minutes that felt like hours. Finally, he found them. Michael Carter, Renee Hopkins, Daniel Lee. All patients. All deceased. All listed under the same doctor. And all misdiagnosed. He took photos quickly. Then a sound. Footsteps. He ducked behind a filing cabinet. Heart pounding. A flashlight passed the doorway. A security guard paused, but moved on. Tyrone exhaled silently. He had the truth. And now, they'd come for him. The next morning, Jalen met him in the alley behind the school. You're crazy, Jalen said. You know that. I've got names. Evidence. We can prove Miss Davis was right. And do what? Go to the police. Why not? Jalen shook his head. You're not thinking straight. They're powerful. They'll bury this before you even finish speaking. Tyrone hesitated. The weight of it all began pressing down. Then what do we do? Jalen pulled something from his bag. A recorder. We make noise. Public noise. Videos.
Posts.
We tell people the truth. They can't silence everyone. Tyrone nodded slowly. Maybe that was their only shot. They spent the weekend crafting a video. Not dramatic. Just facts. Faces. Names. Patterns. Records. They uploaded it anonymously and shared it through school accounts. Within hours, it exploded. Students shared it.
Parents saw it.
Community pages picked it up. People started asking questions. The black car was gone by Monday morning, but something else had arrived. A letter, taped to Tyrone's locker. Meet me. Old train yard. Midnight. Come alone. Jalen read it over his shoulder. This smells like a trap, he muttered. Tyrone stared at the note. Then let's set our own. Midnight. The old train yard. Rusted tracks and silence stretched for miles. Tyrone waited in the dark, phone in hand, recorder in pocket. A figure approached. It wasn't a stranger. It was Dr. Halberd. The same doctor listed in every misdiagnosis Tyrone found. You should have kept your head down, Halberd said coldly. Miss Davis tried. You forced her out. And now you'll join her. Quietly or not. He stepped closer. Tyrone's hand trembled near his phone. Then, flashlights. Footsteps. Jalen emerged, followed by 2 local journalists and Mr. Myers. We're not alone, Tyrone said calmly. Halberd froze. Camera shutters clicked. Truth had arrived.